I hear what you guys are saying about the whole don't shame MAGA back to the far right. Like, all of these people are waking up and we need to welcome them with open arms because we don't want the left to ostracize them so that they feel like all they have is the right. And then we just like repeat the cycles and we push them further and further away. I hear what you're saying. And it does make sense logically. Like, oh, we should resist the urge to say, I told you so. Oh, we shouldn't shame them for not knowing any better. We need to all come together now because it's not right versus left. It's up versus down and all that kumbaya bullshit. Okay. I get it. I am not one of those people. Because two things can be true at the same time. We can applaud the return of the prodigal son while also holding that ass to the fire. After the Civil War ended, Northern white people and the government in general didn't stand on business hard enough. And that's why we have MAGA today. Let's be clear about that. All of those fucking Confederates that should have been executed the day they decided to become traitors against the United States of America, the day they decided to lay down their lives and give their last breath in defense of slavery, they all should have been, I don't know if you can see my hand. Let me do it again. You know what I'm saying? They all should have got a musket to the face. And because they didn't, because we took it easy on them, because we chose to prioritize their humanity while they ravaged other people's humanity, that Confederate mindset, that delusional, completely detached from reality, hateful, violent, traitorous, animalistic mindset has been allowed to seep through the annals of American history like the virus that it is. And now what we have today is a large portion of the population that is still fully accepting of sicknesses, sicknesses to humanity, cancerous beliefs that eat away at not only their humanity, not only do these people's beliefs corrode their own soul, they corrupt the soul of others and the collective soul of humanity. Because let's be clear about what the fuck these people have done over centuries. They have weaponized that holy book that they call a Bible and beat people over the heads with it until their brains were bashed in. Like, to be clear, racism is the reason why we don't have universal health care. Hatred against women is the reason why we don't have affordable daycare or federally mandated paid maternity, paternity, and leave or parental leave. To be clear, these people's hateful, divisive, corrosive, cancerous values and belief systems are the reasons why America is severely lacking in all of the tools and resources that make those fucking Europeans, those smelly as no AC having Europeans, have a better quality of life than we do. I don't know why Europeans just caught strays. I'm just mad. And it's okay to be mad, is what I'm trying to say. I fully understand that there are a lot of people in this world that are born into darkness. It's as simple as that. I was born into the light. Can't relate. There are a lot of people in this world. When I say darkness, I mean darkness on all levels. And that doesn't necessarily indicate abuse, because darkness can mean darkness of the intellect, ignorance, darkness of the spirit, spiritual confusion. People who are spiritually confused believe that the Christian thing to do is send Mexicans and Guatemalans and other Latinos to Alligator Alcatraz and to bomb Gaza. Because in their spiritual confusion, they believe that they're the good guys in all of this. In their spiritual confusion, they have no media literacy because they can't see straight. And they think that Superman is coming for them now. They think that the movie Superman is coming for them now. I understand how soul deep, how DNA deep this shit goes, and that people don't have a choice what they are born into, but they do have a choice of who they become as an adult. I do not buy into all of that. Oh, well, they were raised this way, so they don't know any better. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. We were all raised in certain ways that we have deep and undone in adulthood. What I'm not about to do, and what I do not encourage you to do, is coddle these. Ooh. I'm trying to figure out a way to say it that doesn't get this video taken down and doesn't come across as bullying the less intelligent among us. Because I'm really, actually not that nice of a person. But I'm trying to be, because the algorithm likes niceness. So let's think about this before I speak.
Why are y'all so angry? You have the White House, you have both houses of Congress, you have a Supreme Court that is completely obedient to your president. They're willing to give him unlimited power. They're willing to say that he can take SEAL Team 6 and kill anybody he wants. They were willing to affirm that. They're willing to say that ICE can racially profile anybody they want. The United States Supreme Court has said you can racially profile Latinos based on their accent or the way they look. You guys have everything you want. You have legal racial profiling. You've ended DEI. You've ended affirmative action. You get all the best jobs even if you're not qualified. You can be a Fox Weekend host and be the Defense Department's Secretary of Defense. You can be Kash Patel and be a podcaster who wants to go to Valhalla and run the FBI as long as you're conservative. You have everything. Why are y'all so angry? What the fuck are you angry about? You've banned all of our books. You've banned Black history. You banned the 1619 Project. You don't have to compete with women for jobs. You've chased them out of the military. You've chased them out of the senior positions in the Department of Defense. You've gotten rid of all the Black history in the museums. Museums are terrified. I have contacts that I'm talking to inside of the Interior Department, people who are running all of those spaces where you can go and see a Civil War memorial or something. The people who work in these places are terrified. They're afraid to tell the real history. The people who are working for the federal government are afraid to say the word Black. You guys have canceled Black scholarships. You're damn near, I guess, ready to get rid of HBCUs. Donald Trump just recently said they're not going to fund any minority serving institution. Y'all have gotten rid of that. You've gotten rid of help for Black kids to go to college. What more do you want? What are you so angry about? I go every so often, I go and look on X Twitter. Y'all are the maddest people ever. Y'all are so angry for people who have everything. Y'all said you want your country back. You have it. The rest of us are sitting back and trying to keep our peace and preserve our peace while you all are running the country. If the airlines are crashing, that's you. That's you, the people you wanted to run the United States government. The FBI, y'all are laughing at them on X Twitter and saying that they look ridiculous. That's your FBI. They've purged the people who made the FBI what it was. It's not what you wanted. You have your podcasters running the FBI. You have your friend from the real world running the Department of Transportation. That's what you wanted. There's no longer a gay guy there. The gay guy's gone. The gay guy's at home with his kid and his husband. He's not in charge anymore. The Department of Justice is what you wanted. It's your Justice Department that won't release the Epstein files. If you're mad about the Epstein files, you shouldn't be mad at me and the left. You need to be mad at Donald Trump. You all have the country. You run every red state like it's already Project 2025. You won't let women have abortions in Texas. They're literally dying of sepsis. That's what you wanted. You wanted women to have only 6 weeks to get an abortion in Georgia. You got it. You wanted Texas to be a petri dish and a laboratory for every right-wing, anti-Black, anti-gay, anti-trans idea. And you also got rid of vaccines. Every child in Florida is now going to go to school with kids who could give them measles, mumps, and rubella and COVID. That's what y'all wanted. You now have a paradise in Florida where you can get sick, cough on people, let them die of whatever disease you're carrying. It's almost like you've got the pilgrims again that can come and cough on all the natives and take them out. That's what you wanted. You got it. You wanted Florida to be that. It's that. You wanted the United States to be Florida. It's that. But yet you all are still so angry. I don't understand it. I genuinely don't understand it. I don't mean to rant and rave, but I am genuinely trying to get to the bottom of what you all are so angry about. And I think I have a suspicion and I have a guess. What you all are angry about is that while you have gotten everything you wanted on the right, we on the other side won't give you love for it. We won't respect you for it. We won't hail you for it. We won't respect you and say, hey, we want to, have you at the Oscars. We want to fet you. We want to make you guys, we want to wrap our arms around you. You want us to embrace you. You don't just want to run us and tell us what to do and tell us what to think and tell us what to read and tell us what history we can have. You don't just want to tell us what to do. You want us to embrace you. What you really want is to sit at our table. You're mad because while you are running the country into the ground, you're destroying your own farmers with tariffs. You're destroying your own farmers by taking away their subsidies that used to go with USAID. You got what you wanted. They've ended the farm subsidies. These are the things y'all asked for. You got your big, beautiful budget. That's what you wanted. Trump gave it right to you. You got your permanent tax cut. You're still pissed because the left, the other side, the majority, we still cannot stand you. We cannot stand Christian nationalism. We don't want it. And because we will not say we want your Christian nationalism, we embrace your Christian nationalism. We like your Christian nationalism. We like you. Because we won't do that, that's why you're still mad. But guess what we're going to keep on doing? We're going to keep on being moisturized and unbothered, and we still not going to like it. We're never going to like Christian nationalism. We're never going to accept it. We're never going to be down with it. And our squad is bigger than your squad at the end of the day. We have the Boricuas. We got the Mexican Americans. They done woke up. They said, whoo, Lord, let's go ahead and go with these folks. We got the spicy whites. The spicy white folk are with us. They're with us. Right? We got the Asian Americans who've woken up and said, whoa, we better be with them. Right? Chinese Americans, they see you. Japanese Americans are like, you're going to do internment again? We see you.
South Koreans
are like, whoa, we see you. Y'all going to kick the South Koreans out. Now you're going to cry because Georgia's going to have a worse economy because you're not going to get to have the South Koreans teaching y'all to have those high-tech jobs. The South Koreans are like, oh, well, sure hate it. Africa's like, we're just going to do business with each other. We got BRICS. We don't need y'all. Tourists are like, we don't need y'all. The African Americans, the Caribbean Americans are getting together and said, yo, why are we fighting each other? Caribbean Americans are like, yo, we were y'all. We've been hip hop together. Let's go off. And you're mad at us because we do not want to be.
I'll never forget the day a white buddy of mine said black people don't deserve equality because they could never get enough. And that's true. White people are actually scared of equality. That's just how racist we are as a people. And it's not just that one person. White culture in general. Probably I would say most white people, when they hear the word equality, they fear that white people will be oppressed because brown, black, and indigenous people might actually get what's fair and just. That's just how racist we are. And we're so obsessed with the idea of not having equality in America for black, brown, and indigenous people that we don't have health care, that we don't have economic equality. We don't have reasonable gun laws. Our liberties are being stripped because we have a fascist, racist, white supremacist regime in office because we are so scared of equality. We're so scared that black and brown folks might become the majority one day. That we had a black president and now we've got to have a white supremacist president. That's how scared we are of equality. That's how racist we are as a people. Go to the fucking root. The root of America's problems. The root of the white man and the white woman, their problems, and America and the world. If you think about it, colonialization, white supremacy, the mentality of white people today, not just yesterday, today, right now, the denial racially, the silence, the apathy, the continuous gaslighting, all that's ruined us. It's ruined white people and it's ruining our nation. And whose fault is it? White people's fault. Their inability to fucking fix their goddamn problem.
Why do you think they're covering the sun? We're about to activate. We've already activated. And I love this comment so much. I wish I could pin it. We've already activated. Look what's going on. Look at what's going on. Think about how blatantly racist everyone is on the internet right now. Do you know why? It's because we're not complicit. We don't put our heads down anymore. I've been seeing so many videos of us literally physically fighting back when we've been confronted with violence. This is a new timeline. It's only been literally like maybe 60 years, 65 years since the civil rights movement. White people used to beat like they used to whip our ass. They used to hang us from trees like strange fruit. They were still eating us in the 60s. We don't talk about this. Literally, we experienced the most heinous things after the so-called slavery was abolished in the 1900s in this country. They stole our lands. They flooded us out. They burned and bombed everything. But now we're waking up. Even though they try to co-opt woke, they fucking steal and colonize everything we come up with. But we're all waking up and we're collectively getting on one band, one sound, and everybody's losing their shit. That's why they're coming out the woodworks, like saying, oh, and of course, you know, the president makes them feel like they don't have to hide anymore. But the fact that we have a voice to say something back, this is why I can't do it on here. But on my YouTube channel, I say the most vile stuff to these people. When they talk to me crazy, I go for the jugular because we are activated. And this is, I feel like right now we're kind of like in phase 1 of finding a voice, identifying ourselves as who we are. We're not centering any other ethnicities. We're not centering anyone else. And that's why other people losing their shit over that, because they're so used to being centered. We've never centered ourselves as Black Americans. We've always been super inclusive while being disrespected, disregarded, abused. We're like the kid that was constantly bullied, and now we're fighting back because we have been activated. And it is so fucking beautiful to see. And what a time to be alive.
There is something so tragic about white America that if we could just do this one thing, I think the rest of our problems would disappear. Because our issue before racism, before white supremacy, is that we don't listen. We don't listen to people of color. We don't listen to their stories. We don't listen to their lived experiences. Because if we did, we would never have believed a word that came out of Donald Trump's mouth, because we would have known that he was lying all along. At the root of white supremacy is pride. We don't need to listen. You can't teach me anything. But you know what comes before the fall? Pride comes before the fall. And we're about to find out what happens when you shut out the prophetic voice and you don't listen or pay attention to the warning signs. They told us that Trump didn't care about us and our cost of living. They told us that he only cares about himself. But we didn't listen, and now we're finding out the hard way.
The return of family values is a topic worth reflecting on. I have always appreciated people who are willing to share their views on sensitive issues without avoiding them or feeling hesitant to speak up. I also value the time spent engaging in discussions with others, because it is through your comments and feedback that I am given the opportunity to speak, contribute my perspective, and continue deeper conversations about what is happening in our communities and the issues that Black people should be paying attention to and taking action on. Looking back to the years when Barack Obama was president, many people opposed him from the very beginning. Many argued that their opposition was not entirely based on his policies or leadership abilities, but was at least partly connected to the fact that he was a Black man, holding the highest office in the nation. A similar discussion emerged when Kamala Harris ran for office. Many people argued that she never received broad support from certain segments of white voters, not because of her policy platform, but because of race. In the minds of many, whenever a Black person moves closer to a position of significant leadership, feelings of anxiety and suspicion begin to surface. Why does that happen? Because history is still very much present. Many people understand exactly what Black Americans have endured throughout this country's history. They know the injustices committed by previous generations. They understand the suffering that African American ancestors experienced under systems of oppression that persisted for generations. As a result, Whenever black people have the opportunity to assume leadership roles, some individuals fear that they may seek revenge or impose on others the same treatment that was once inflicted upon the black community. However, that has never been the goal that black people have pursued. Their struggles have not been about revenge, but about achieving fairness and equal opportunity for everyone. If you want to understand this more clearly, look back at history. Remember the civil rights movement, the era of legalized racial segregation, and the years under Jim Crow laws. Remember the intense debates about race in modern society. Remember the death of George Floyd and the waves of protests that spread across the United States. When black people took to the streets to protest, they were not speaking only for themselves. They were fighting for freedom, justice, and the right to be treated equally under the law and within society. Those demands were not solely for the benefit of one particular community. They reflected the core values that America has always claimed to uphold. Look at America today. After years of upheaval, it is clear that the economy is facing significant challenges. Political, economic, and social instability has left many people worried about the future. Across social media, more and more individuals are posting videos expressing disappointment, regretting past decisions, or calling for unity in order to overcome difficult times. What is particularly noteworthy is that these voices do not always come from the black community. In many cases, they come from people who once believed that hardship was something only others had to endure. They grew up in environments where privilege was often taken for granted. So when economic and social disruptions began affecting their own lives directly, feelings of shock and uncertainty emerged. Many people have started asking themselves why certain communities continue to adapt and move forward while everyone is living under the same economy, the same government, and the same social system. Some seek answers by comparing their experiences to those of African American communities. But there is something important to understand. African Americans are people whose families have spent generations living within a system in which they frequently faced injustice and discrimination. They understand how the system operates because their families and ancestors experienced it firsthand. I mentioned Jane Elliott in another video. She has led numerous discussions about race relations in America. In one well-known presentation, she asked whether anyone would willingly choose to live the life of an African American if given the option. The response was often silence, not because people did not know the answer, but because they understood very well the hardships that black communities have endured throughout history. Everyone knows what slavery was. They know how racial segregation operated. They understand the pain and losses that black people have carried across generations. So when someone asks why black people do not seem to complain as much about today's difficulties, perhaps the answer lies within that history itself. It is difficult to compare one's experience to that of people who have spent generations confronting adversity. These are communities that have lived through prejudice, discrimination, and systemic injustice. These are families that have had to adapt to difficult conditions for a very long time. Therefore, when the economy becomes unstable, prices rise, and daily life becomes more challenging, many people within those communities view these developments as simply another challenge in a long series of hardships they have already learned to navigate. That does not mean they are unaffected. However, their historical experience has helped them develop a greater capacity for resilience and adaptation in the face of social upheaval and uncertainty. For generations, African Americans lived in a society where they were routinely separated from white communities. They faced barriers in education, employment, housing, and many other aspects of life. Those conditions shaped a long era of racial segregation and discrimination in American history, leaving effects that are still discussed today. Those experiences helped cultivate resilience. They learned how to stand on their own, even when they felt that no one was truly standing with them. They grew up within a system that they often believed did not protect their interests. When difficulties arose, They could not simply assume that someone would step in and solve their problems for them. So how is it that today, many people ask why Black Americans do not complain more, or why they do not react more strongly to current hardships? For years, whenever the United States faced social crises or injustice, there was often an expectation that the Black community would once again take to the streets, raise its voice, and continue the fight. Yet the very people who had experienced unfair treatment, wrongful targeting, arrests, or violence were often the ones who bore the heaviest consequences. In many cases, the rest of society did not respond with the same level of commitment or concern. Many people never truly spoke out about issues directly affecting African American communities. Therefore, when political debates take place, or when leaders develop new policies, it is important to understand that not everyone receives support from the Black community. In fact, there have long been many voices of opposition and warning. Black Americans repeatedly tried to warn voters about what they viewed as potential dangers. They spoke out about Donald Trump. They also discussed many other candidates in American politics. Their message was not simply that people should vote for Kamala Harris. Rather, they emphasized that voters always have multiple options and the right to carefully consider whichever choice they believe is best. Nevertheless, many people ultimately chose to return to power a leader who had previously held office. What is particularly noteworthy is that some voters who had once expressed dissatisfaction with his previous term later decided to give him another opportunity. That was a decision they made through their own votes. For that reason, when consequences or challenges emerge following those political decisions, it can be difficult to understand why people would expect those who issued warnings beforehand to continue carrying the burden of solving everyone else's problems. Many people want the Black community to return to the streets, organize demonstrations, and continue fighting against issues they have been speaking out about for years. Today, however, not everyone is willing to do that anymore. The reason is simple. They have already spent years trying to change the situation. They fought relentlessly. They worked to explain how they viewed the social system and the injustices embedded within it. They warned others about risks they believed were approaching. Yet in many cases, those warnings were dismissed. Many people claimed they were simply complaining too much, stirring up controversy, or creating division. Some even argued that they did not appreciate what they already had. Faced with those reactions, many people have chosen to become more silent today. That silence does not mean they no longer care. It is a deliberate choice. They have realized that they cannot continue sacrificing their time, energy, and voices indefinitely to protect people who do not want to listen or who fail to appreciate those efforts. It is difficult to keep standing up for others when the very people you are trying to help do not recognize the value of what you are doing. They do not understand the sacrifices that have been made or the struggles that have taken place over many years. That is why many people misunderstand the resilience of the Black community today. It is not because they possess some special secret that makes life easier, nor is it because they are immune to hardship. The difference is that they became accustomed to confronting adversity long before the challenges of today appeared. Many people within that community grew up under conditions that many others today would find difficult to accept or adapt to. The challenges they endured across generations helped develop a level of endurance and adaptability that not everyone acquires. This is a topic with many dimensions that deserve deeper analysis and discussion. We can continue exploring different perspectives on history, politics, society, and the lasting impact they have had on America today. For now, however, I will leave it here. I look forward to reading your thoughts, opinions, and perspectives in the comments section below. I will do my best to respond and join the conversation whenever I can. Thank you all for continuing to watch, support the channel, subscribe, share the content, and contribute your thoughts. Your support is always appreciated. I wish everyone the very best. and I look forward to seeing you again in future content.